Oh, hey. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was ready for that. Try that again, shall we? Pretend that didn't happen. Converted man here. Now that I've exploded your speakers, I know what to get you for Christmas. New eardrums. All right. So, pragmatic crystal in the house immediately and instantly. Love it. Merry Xmas, pragmatic crystal. If I had your email, I would have emailed you. Things saying that on Christmas, but I don't have your email, so I couldn't do that. So, Merry Christmas, or Hanukkah, or Festivus, or Lobstermas, or whatever you might celebrate or not. May you and yours have a good day. And not just that day, but all the days. Alright, cool. Audio's cutting out periodically. Well, that's good. Glad to hear that. Not sure why that would be. Huh. Automatically adjust. No, I don't know. Panic? I'm gonna keep. I don't know what to do. I mean, either it's working or it's not working. There's really not anything I can do on my side to make that function normally. So if I post this as an actual video and don't delete it later because of all the technical issues I seem to be having, then we'll see if it's worthy of staying up. And if not, then it gets blown up. Alright, I guess that's how I'll handle it. Alright, so. Ho, ho, ho's in the Bible. Oh, yeah. I was looking for proof of God and couldn't find any. That's okay. Instead, okay, it's thumbs up. I guess it's working now. Okay, whatever. So instead, I found this lovely little The Beat by Alan Parr. I think I've covered his stuff here and there live before, and this guy's an apologist, and, as such, we're gonna get really awful, terrible, horrible arguments for God. But this one is repugnant and repulsive and morally corrupt as well. He doesn't seem a bit ashamed of or embarrassed by these verses. And he doesn't spend too long defending them. In fact, he spends zero time on them. So I'm going to spend at least, let's see, until next year. We're going to be here until next year of me analyzing the video. I'm not kidding, it's not going to take me that long. It might take me a while. But before I do any of that, because it's holidays, I thought I would sing for you. Yes, I know. Many of you have said, Deconverted Man, please never sing on your channel. No one's ever said that, but I imagine somebody somewhere is saying, oh, bleep, please don't sing. Don't worry, it'll be short. Oh, lobster tree, you're lobster, lobster, lobster. Okay, anyways, alright, enough of that silliness. Let's get to the video and look at the hoes in the Bible. Oh, yeah. Audio is very bad. Oh, sounds fine. I don't know. Blaster's good. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Panic. We're just gonna assume that maybe audio is fine on my side, but audio is not okay on somebody else's side. We're just gonna proceed. Forget it. It doesn't matter. We'll do it live. I read Deuteronomy. I read all the laws, by the way. I read all 613 laws on my channel. Took me a while to do it, but I did do it. And they're all terrible. They're all horrible and bad. And yeah, so yeah. Anyways, so this is covering one of those. So let's just get it going, and yeah.
Meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must.
I gotta stop already. Yeah, I love it. I love it. The worth of a woman is something worth keeping track here of. 50 shekels of silver. I don't know what a shekel is. Let's see. What is 50 shekels of silver? What is that? What does that mean? Yeah, let's convert that to like USD if we can. Hebrew. Okay, what would this be? Okay, well, according to this random website I found, good enough for me. Oh, Pragmatic said it was hers. Alright, cool. I panicked over nothing. Yay! This website says it'd be about $323. Alright, so that's how much it's worth in the Hebrew Times. A woman getting raped is worth about 300 and let's just round it up, 330 bucks. Yeah. That's how much it's worth. So imagine in our court system that a man or a woman is raped, and the judgment is, they have to pay $330 to the other side. I mean, no jail time, no anything. Just that's it. Just pay it to and pay it to the father too. Now, what if the father's not alive? Well, I guess you just whoever, the man of the family though, that's who gets it, not the women. Screw the women, right? The Bible loves the women. Anyways, so pay about $330 to for the young woman. And then also marry her after you've raped her, and you can't divorce her as long as you're alive. I don't know if she can divorce you, but you can't divorce her. So that's your punishment. So in our day and age, just imagine again, a man or a woman gets raped by somebody, and the judge is like, yeah, well, look, that'll be 350 or 300. I'm just rounding up to 350 because 330 is ridiculous, isn't it? But 330 sounds biblical, doesn't it? 333. Let's make it nice, lots of threes there, shall we? $330. And by the way, you have to marry them, and you're not allowed to divorce them. Do I have to live with them? Can I go somewhere else? How does that work? Such a good justice system that God has given us in the Bible. All right.
Must marry the young woman, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. So wait, stop the presses, hold on. Mr. or Mrs. Christian, are you telling me that the Bible, the God of your Bible, is not only encouraging, but commanding the idea that a woman who gets raped by a man, that's bad enough, but now as a additional punishment, she has to marry the very man who has just raped her, and according to this verse, he has to stay married to her for the rest of his life. Now, how do you and I answer these types of questions? Because many atheists, many skeptics will use passages like this to first and foremost discredit the Bible and try to say that, hey, how could you read a book that encourages something like this? But also will use it to try to charge God as being misogynistic and a God that does not care about the feelings of women, so on and so forth. So in this video,
it's actually a very easy way around this for the believer, if they don't want to be a complete, utter moral failure. And that is to say, Deuteronomy was written by humans, and they attributed the laws to God, but it wasn't actually God. They made up these laws, and it was their laws, and they said it came from God, but it didn't. Now, of course, that causes other problems, but it does get rid of a lot of the problems. It gets rid of all the laws that are so many deaths in the Bible, you just go, that was written by humans, and it's not actually from God. There you go, problem solved. Or, on the other hand, if you're a morally reprehensible human, you find ways to defend these verses. Let's see which one he picks.
Video, we're going to talk about how we can answer this particular question coming up. Okay, so in order to answer this question, it's important for us to apply the most basic principles of Bible study. So first and foremost, we're going to look at the context of this particular passage. Second, we're going to look at the cross references. And finally, we're going to look at consultation. And so whenever we look at the context of this particular passage, what we see is that these laws are regarding sexual activity or sexual relationships between men and women.
No kidding. I didn't need the rest of the. What the? What? Yeah. What? Yeah, we know what it's about. We didn't need any other Bible verses to know what it's about. It's clear what it's about from the. Oh God! Why? What?
And the first three of these laws are regarding the relationship or the sexual relationship between a man and a married woman. And then the last three are going to be focused on a man and a single woman. So,
yes. Now, remember he mentioned misogyny. Yeah, keep that in mind, because the focus, the man and the woman, right? Because that's how the Bible lays it out. The man has the power in the Bible. And that's the way it was in those days. Yeah, but couldn't God have explained to them how to have equal partnerships and equal responsibilities and have a more egalitarian society? That would have certainly set them apart from other people, because this is supposedly God giving these laws to the Jews through other humans, but nonetheless, okay. And aren't the point of these laws to make the people of Israel different than everyone else and show that they're God's chosen? So why wouldn't God give them perfect laws? Oh, well, we're not going to answer that question. Oh.
Let's take a look at the verses that precede this ever so controversial passage of Scripture. The first is when a man falsely accuses his wife of not being a virgin when he marries her. Notice what it says. Suppose a man marries a woman, but after sleeping with her, he turns against her and publicly accuses her of shameful conduct, saying, "When I married this woman, I discovered she was not a virgin."
Oh, the audacity. How dare you not be a virgin? That's a crime. That's a crime. According to God. If we're not saying that all of the Deuteronomy, as I said, if we're not willing to say that this is all made up by humans and it's not from God, which is, I think, the only way out of this. That's it. That's the only way to get out of this. Otherwise, you're saying this is all from a perfectly loving being that is all good. So whatever your morals are, if you disagree with this, then you're wrong, because God's morals are saying that this is the right way to do things. That you must remain a virgin until marriage. Now, discovered she's not a virgin. How do you go about discovering that somebody isn't a virgin? Well, they had some interesting ideas in the biblical times. And, I mean, we're obviously going to be graphic. We have to be. I would suspect they believe that the hymen is always going to be intact for a virgin, even though that's not necessarily the case. There are plenty of ways that can go away without having sex, and also without even masturbating with fingers. A bumpy wagon ride or car ride, or landing on a branch the wrong way could get rid of the hymen. There's multiple ways, and also it might not break either. Yet you could have sex and have it not break. It's rare, but it could happen. So there's many ways, but I suspect that they're quote unquote discovering because they expect to see blood after they've had sex with them. Because blood means, well, they broke the hymen and they're a virgin. And of course they're not supposed to enjoy the sex. Of course not. Those women. They're not allowed to enjoy sex. Sex is only for reproduction. And, well, also consummating the marriage. But the whole point of having sex is to have kids, right? So that's really why you're having sex with her. But so you discover, quote unquote, because there's no blood on the sheets after you've had sex with her, that she's not a virgin. And that is what they're talking about here. Imagine again taking your bed sheets to court and complaining to the judge, I married this gal. She said, she was a virgin, but look, the sheets are completely clean. Obviously, she's not a virgin. Please, judge, do something here. Make this right in my world. Do something about this evil woman for having sex that before we got married. How dare she? Now, is there a way to discover that the man is not a virgin? Huh. Well, no, there isn't, is there? Isn't that odd? There's no thing that indicates whether a man has kept his virginity or not. No external sign at all. So the Bible doesn't say what to do if the woman discovers that her man is not a virgin, because you couldn't discover it. There's nothing to discover there. And there's many ways that a woman could be sexually promiscuous besides just her front end, by the way. So she might be non-virgin in that hole, but had taken it every other way. I'm just saying, look, so this is absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous and one-sided, because they had particular beliefs about the hymen and virginity and purity, and they were trying to go for this quote-unquote purity, that the woman must be pure for her husband. And so we expect to see this certain thing happen, and if we don't, then obviously she's not a virgin, and we've got to punish her for that. And there's nothing equivalent for the guy. He might have been with 20 different women, 20 different guys. Don't matter. There's no law for him. So this is a completely unequal system. Now, you would think that a perfect God that cared about purity of sex would have some sort of indicator on men and women. Maybe a light. Let's just have a light in our forehead. How about this? Okay? So imagine we have a light bulb of sorts. Maybe, it's not a light bulb because it's biological, but it is normally your skin pigment. But after you've had sex, it turns green or red or whatever, okay? And so then as soon as that person's had sex, oh look, their light is on. They've had sex. So then both men and women have this, thing in their forehead, and yeah, maybe they try to cover it up, but obviously part of before sex or during sex, your forehead wipes itself off, and perhaps trying to cover it up is extraordinarily painful. God has made sure that you're not going to get away with trying to conceal it. But even still, people are pretty clever, so maybe God has to make some rules up about making sure that the forehead is clean and examining the light before you marry the person and seeing if they're a virgin or not, because God is so concerned with purity, right? And if they're not, then you just don't marry them. That's all. You just don't even marry them in the first place. You know? But God doesn't have that sort of forethought. Anyways.
Of shameful conduct, saying, when I married this woman, I discovered she was not a virgin. Then the woman's father and mother must bring the proof of her virginity to the elders as they hold court at the town gate.
All right, gotta stop again. I love this. The burden of proof, something that extraordinarily important in logic and in the courtroom. The burden of proof switches from the plaintiff to the defendant. The defendant must prove a negative. The defendant must prove, well, that this didn't happen, that the person is pure, actually. The mom and dad have to bring, what does it say? The proof of their virginity to the elders. How would you do that exactly? What is this proof? Now, why the mom and the dad of the girl? Well, again, I'm speculating here, but I'm thinking that maybe that their first sexual capades happens at the house of the girl's parents on their wedding night, like instead of his house. I don't know, maybe or it's just they're around, they're handy to hear them having sex so they can confirm that that they're coupled or something. I don't, I'm just speculating here, so that they would have ready access to the bed sheets so that they could then go and prove that, oh no, see, she is a virgin, here's the blood on the sheet. Because how else is she gonna prove that she's a virgin? What are you gonna do, show them pictures? You don't have pictures back then. Why didn't God tell them how to make cameras so they could have had video proof? Oh well. So the mom and dad have to, we've shifted burden of proof to them. They have to somehow prove that she's a virgin to the elders. Then, and I love that her father has to say a certain thing. Like this is what you say. You say, I gave my daughter to this man to be his wife, and now he has turned against her. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. You're not allowed to say other words. You're not allowed to swear. You're not allowed. That's what you're supposed to say. You can't say anything else. It's like you're in a play, and these are the lines that you have to read for your character. It's ridiculous. I just imagine this happening in the modern day. Hey, Your Honor, listen, this hoe over here, she said she was a virgin. She ain't a virgin. And her mom and dad stepped forward. Hold on, Your Honor. We've got the proof that she's a virgin right here. It's just...
Her father must say to them, I gave my daughter to this man to be his wife, and now he has turned against her. He has accused her of shameful conduct, saying, I discovered that your daughter was not a virgin, but here is the proof of my daughter's virginity. Then they must spread her bed sheet before the elders. The elders must then take the man and punish him. They must also fine him 100 pieces of silver.
Here we go. So I wanted to highlight this part because I said the sheets were involved here, and here's the blood spread on them. And so this is the demonstrably demonstrated proof that your daughter's not a virgin. And yeah, this is perfect. Grand Moff Foreskin Neen. What? How do you say that last part? N-N-Y. Whatever. Just spill some other blood on the sheets and save your daughter. Yeah. Yeah, as if the mom and dad of her couldn't, just sacrifice a goat or a chicken or splash some blood on it or whatever. Like, how do you know it's her blood? They didn't have blood tests back then. So I mean, there's a way around this, isn't there? But God, in His all-powerful holiness, didn't think this through. I guess they didn't think about people finding loopholes in this perfect system that God has devised. Or maybe it was just humans that wrote it all. Nah, it's all God, right? Okay. So yeah, bring your sheet to work to the judge and prove your innocence because we reverse the burden of proof. They have to spread the bed sheet before the elders. So, I mean, imagine all these old guys sitting around. It's like, look at all this blood on the sheet. And the men are like poking each other. yeah, that means they had sex. Like a whole bunch of horny, old, dirty old men just enjoying the idea of seeing the blood from their sex. Oh, man, that had to have turned on somebody back in the day. Anyways, but then they have to take the man and punish him. Because he falsely accused her, and we have the proof now, even though that proof can be forgery. But yeah, we're
the man and punish him. They must also fine him 100 pieces of silver.
Okay, so now, okay, now I'm confused because we had 50 shekels, but now we just have 50 pieces of silver. I don't know what the difference is, or if there is one. But we'll just use that website I found before. And let's see. Hold on. All right. Let's see. So now it's 100 pieces of silver. Let's just see. Come on. Let's just say 100 silver. 100 silver. Let's just say 100 silver because it doesn't know what pieces is. All right, come on. Come on. All right, it doesn't. This website I found that so handily told me the numbers before is failing me now. Let's try Chat GPT. It will know. What's 100 pieces of silver worth today? Yeah, just the value of silver can vary depending, blah, blah, blah. So it's around 25 to 30 per ounce. So we'd have to know the weight and the purity. Oh, God. I don't know. Okay, but forget it. We're not going to be able to figure it out. What's important is, remember before, we had 50 shekels of silver. If you rape somebody, that's how much you owe. And now it's 100 silver without the shekels. So we don't know if it's more or less. But I'm thinking it's more for some reason. But maybe it's less. Maybe shekels is worth more than pieces. Like, I don't know. How much is that? I don't know. Somebody's got to know. Okay, so this is... Yeah, okay, so Google says, yeah, maybe $250, $300. So it seems to be either about the same price as rape or less or more. I'm not really sure what to get mad at because I kind of want to get mad at the number being bigger here than in the rape case because that was 50, so that's a smaller number, right? And I'm thinking shekels might be something like coins, and so 50 shekels of silver is less than 100 pieces of silver, which would piss me off more because that means that rape is less valued than virginity. But then again, maybe my values are a little bit weird because honestly, it shouldn't matter which one's more, because the fact that we're trying to place any value on these things at all is kind of crazy already. But you let me know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm I'm not really doing research deeply into figuring out which one's more or less here in the confines of the ancient Hebrew people back in the day. However long ago Deuteronomy was written. So maybe after I do the video, I'll do that research and find out how we should be pissed off about this. But I'm pissed off regardless, because this is ridiculous, okay? It's just ridiculous. It's wrong. It's just wrong. Then, get this, it's worse. He pays it not to her, to the dad of her, to the father. And then he can't divorce her ever. He accuses her of not being a virgin. The mom and dad of her have to prove to the court that she's not a virgin. Then he's stuck with her the rest of his life. Doesn't say if she can divorce him or not. I'm assuming she can't. Why would you want to be around someone that accused her like that? You know? Why would you set up a system like this? This is so incoherent, so one-sided. It is misogynistic. Not only that, it devalues sexuality. It makes it into a business transaction. It pries into the private life of people who should be enjoying each other's company and getting it on, with each other in private. And that's nobody's business but theirs. And whether he or she is a virgin shouldn't matter at all. Who cares? And if God really cared, then he could have made it so that it was absolutely clear who had sex with whom and when. Easily put in at least a light bulb into our heads that turns a different color, whatever, I don't know, some dot on your head that changes colors. I don't know, the Indians like to put that dot on their third eye. So I don't know, you could have a dot like that changes color depending on if you've had sex or not, if God really cared. This is disgusting. This is vile. Now, what could possibly be the defense of this? And remember, he's reading all this to put the whole rape thing into context, as if this is any better than anything else. This is just as bad and vile and despicable and immoral under my ethical system, and I dare say yours as well. I don't know your guys, girls, and robots' ethical system, but I'm assuming that this would be immoral under your system. How is it right that a guy or a girl or whoever accuses somebody else? I say, hey, I thought Blaster Master was a virgin, but turns out he's not. We got married. I was wrong to accuse him. Sorry about that. Hey, Blaster Master's dad, here's $100. Sorry about that. Hey, by the way, Blaster, we have to stay married forever now, because I falsely accused you. My bad. I've really pwned myself there. What kind of punishment is that?
Which he must pay to the woman's father because he publicly accused a virgin of Israel of shameful conduct. The woman will then remain the man's wife, and he may never divorce her. Now, we don't have time to unpack all of the details of this particular portion of this passage, so let's move on to the second example.
I love it. We don't have time to explain how that's fine. I do. I have the time. I have plenty of time to explore that passage in depth. It's evil, vile, and sick, and twisted. Your Bible is evil. The Torah is evil. It's vile. It's outdated, okay? The only way to make sense out of it is to admit that these laws came from humans, probably men, because men ruled back in the day, and and they made the rules, okay? And it wasn't God that said to do these things. But by saying it's God, you now have an unquestioning rule. You cannot challenge that idea. This is one of the major problems with DCT, which is Divine Command Theory. I did a video called DCT, all about Divine Command Theory. Check it out. Okay? If you haven't seen it already, or maybe refresh your mind, because DCT is broken. And this is one of it, because you can say God said to do X, and well, you're not allowed to question that. That's it. That's what God said to do. God said that this is how it works. That's it. You can't question God. Well, I thought you're saying to do that. No. I'm speaking on behalf of God. Well, how do I know that? No. You're not allowed to question things. And so he's like, yeah, we're not going to explain that. We don't have time. Next verse. Let's just get on with it. I love it. It's great. It's wonderful. Well, I'm going to read some comments under this video after I'm done ranting, because the comments are golden too. And they're just perfect. And just, I don't know. Anyways.
Which is when a wife is discovered to not be a virgin. Notice what it says. But suppose the man's accusations are true, and he can show that she was not a virgin. The woman must be taken to the door of her father's home, and there the men of the town must stone her to death.
All right, so I love it. It's so holy. It's so perfectly good and just. What a noble, amazing, loving God we have here in Yahweh. Don't you all agree? What? You think that this is what? No, you don't see this as perfectly good, moral, objective moral values? What? How dare you? How can you not see that this is what a perfectly loving, caring being would put down as law for its people, its chosen people, mind you, the ones that are going to be set apart from the rest of the world to show that God chose them and made them to be so amazing, so that you want to be like in that group. Like, I want to join that group. I want part of this too. How do I join anyways? I don't know. You're just born into it, I guess. There are ways to join Judaism, but, I guess that's probably why Christianity was made up later on, so that people could get in. But anyways, look. If you can't prove your daughter isn't a virgin, as the father and mother of this poor girl that's been accused of not being a virgin, they're like, what do we do? And they didn't come up with the idea of sprinkling blood on the sheets and just lying about it. For whatever reason, they couldn't come up with that. They're in panic mode because they know what the consequence is going to be. They're like, how do we prove this? We got to just go and say, of course she was a virgin. We've seen her every day in and day out. She came home same time every day, and we could, the neighbors, and we can bring them, and yada, yada, yada. And so we do all this, and we bring them all to court, basically. It's what they're, the elders or the court. And we, we give all this testimony. We're trying our best to show that, because it's our burden as parents to prove that our daughter's a virgin. By the way, she's not testifying at all. She's not testifying. Who cares what she has to say? Screw that. She doesn't get to say anything. It's her mom and dad that have to say stuff in her defense. And the elders just don't. They're like, that's not good enough. That doesn't prove that she's a virgin. And the parents now, their hearts are broken. But it's not over. It's not over. No. It's just getting started. Now they drag the poor woman, the daughter, to the house that her mom and dad live in, where they raised her and cared for her entire life. And they fucking stone her to death. Which is like one of the most brutal ways, if not the most brutal way, to kill someone, because it takes quite a while. Your morals are bankrupt if you do not see that as utterly repugnant, vile, and disgusting. And it's one of many of the 613 laws that prescribe stoning to death as the punishment. Why can't she just pay silver? Here's 200 silver. Here's 100 silver. Here's 50 shekels. Something. No. Kill her. If you can't show she's innocent, she dies in front of your house. Wow. What a barbaric, twisted, wrong-headed society that is. Thank the non-God that doesn't exist that we do not have these laws around today. We would all, I hope, condemn any nation that did this. But, believe it or not, some people think that we should return to these laws. Not that many, but a few. And that scares the hell out of me. We look at Islam today. And we look at the current stuff that's going on with Hamas. And some people are defending what's going on in Hamas and saying that they're, that Israel just shot a kid or whatever. And like the Palestine and all that nonsense that's going on. And they're holding their own people hostage and using kids as meat shields and doing all sorts of stuff so that no matter what Israel does, it's going to look bad to the rest of the world. That was the whole point of doing this. The terrorists have them, that it's like, we did this bad thing to you guys. Now we know that you're going to come after us. We want you to come after us. Even if we die, it doesn't matter because you don't know where we all are and you want to punish us. And it's never going to be enough bloodshed until we're all wiped out. And we're going to use our own civilians against you. And you're going to have to wind up killing innocent civilians, including children. And that's going to look bad on you. So we win. If you did nothing, we win. If you do something, we win. We win no matter what because you look bad. And people aren't seeing their brilliant plan. Well, I am, but okay. So Islam is doing that. Why? Because they're following their holy book. They're actually following what their holy book says to do. They're destroying the people that are non-them. They're following their holy book and their holy laws. The Jews are not. If the Jews were following their holy book and doing these sort of things, I'd be like, yeah, kill them, fuck them. Go ahead, Hamas, go ahead. But the Jews have grown up. They've matured. They've moved past these evil, wicked, terrible laws. Except there are, just as there are Muslims that want to have Sharia law enacted, there are probably some Jews, I don't know how many, but there's probably some that want Jewish law reenacted. But they can't do it because in order to do it, you'd have to have all 613 laws, and you can't because the temple isn't there anymore. So if they ever get the temple back, then they could have these laws back. Okay, maybe it's a bit far to say I'd be okay with people killing anyone else just because they have a vile and reprehensible moral system that they're upholding. Because I don't like killing. I don't like the idea that, it's like that's their only, kill the Muslims because they're following their evil, repugnant holy book, or kill the Jewish people if they're following their holy, repugnant book. I don't like that. There's got to be a better way, right? So I'm being a little bit hyperbolic there, but I guess my passion overrode my reason and logic. So please forgive me. But we probably would react rather negatively to people doing these terrible things today. If this is how they treated their own people, that would sicken us. And it would be very hard, if not outright impossible, to defend people that upheld these sort of laws as being worth saving, emotionally speaking. It'd be hard pressed to say, look, their lives matter. I don't agree with the laws that they have. I think that they're wrong. But their life has value. Maybe they can change. You know? If they're dead, they can't change. They can't learn that they were wrong. So we gotta change their minds. Somehow. How do we do that if they believe that this is coming from God, who they can't question? And so we rattle the cage of the Christians saying, hey, look, the Torah you guys adopted as a foundation to put your religion upon. So you guys are culpable in this. Jesus didn't fix the issues. Not really. He kind of does, but he also kind of doesn't. He says none of the law will be written away until it's all done. But then some Christians argue the work was completed when Jesus died. At that point, all 613 laws become null and void. And he puts a new law into effect, which is the golden rule: love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto others as you do do unto others as you do unto yourself, kind of thing. And that's a good law. Why didn't we start with that law, Yahweh? Oh, holy God. Why didn't you just say that and save us 613 verses of stoning to death, if that was your plan the whole time? Because it wasn't. Because Yahweh is not issuing these commands. People are. And people are saying that Yahweh did. Why didn't Jesus clarify, outright come out and say, those things don't count anymore once I die? None of those laws are active. Because, well, he was a human. If he was at all, which I have my doubts on. And he didn't think how to say it in a crystal clear way. If there's a God, it wouldn't say any of this bullshit at all. Because if God is worth anything to us humans, it wouldn't have these sort of backwards laws. These laws that don't apply equally to the sexes. Because there's nothing that the man does that can get him killed. Well, there are some things, but we'll get to those. And it's just ass backwards. Yeah, stoning was always at the edge of town. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, you would think that stoning would... a lot of stoning was taken to the edge of town, but this particular one, it's done in town, in front of her mom and dad's house, just to make it even more gruesome, and really just show them, this is what you get for not having a virgin daughter, as if that was their fault, you know? Next bong is Deuteronomy because of all the stoning. Okay, back to the disgusting, vile video that's supporting this nonsense as moral. or trying to explain how rape is, I guess in light of all these other horrible verses about what we're going to do to women who dare be not a virgin, I guess rape is like, whatever at this point, you know, that's like the least of her worries, you know?
And there the men of the town must stone her to death, for she has committed a disgraceful crime in Israel by being promiscuous while living in her parents' home. In this way, you will purge this evil from among you. Parents' home.
You will purge this evil from among you. Wow. Wow. What if she didn't live at home? Now, back then she did, but I'm just saying, like, because it's hard. We have to remember they lived in these little tiny stone houses, dwellings made of straw, wood, whatever they had lying around, tents, whatever, nomadic people, basically. I'm going to sneeze here. Hold on. Ew. Oh, yeah. There it is. Let's just edit that out later. So, so she would be living with her parents until she was married off, basically. So already, but in modern day, that she could have been living on her own, but back then that just didn't happen. The men had all the power and the women didn't. And the only way the woman could hope to survive would be to be married to a man. And she relied on him for all her material wealth. She was taken care of by the guy. She couldn't work to make money. She had things to do, I'm sure, but nothing that earned money. Goodness forbid we do that. But notice just how, again, it's all about purity. Get rid of that evil. It's evil to have somebody not be a virgin. Well, I don't know. Again, I'm spitballing here, but if I'm God, and I'm so fucking worried about somebody being a virgin in Israel because, I've picked these people to be my chosen people, whatever. I'm like, okay, hey, look, check it out. Here's what's going to happen. If you have sex before you're married, you're going to explode. There you go. That's it. That's what's going to happen. If you have sex before you're married, man or woman, you're going to explode. Kaboom. The moment that your thing goes into another thing, and you're not married, you will just explode. That's what's going to happen. There you go. It's problem solved. I don't know why make it exploding, I could just have it be, look, you're going to just drop dead from instantly, immediately, painlessly. How about that? Or, I don't know, it could be like you will be teleported away to another land where you'll have to start over again. That you'll be exiled. That will be your punishment. You'll be given some money and food so that, and some knowledge of the people and culture that you're going to appear in, but you're kicked out. Okay, that's your punishment. Or, I don't know, why the hell do I need to worry about whether they've had sex or not? But, assuming that I'm a god that cares about purity of sex and all this bullshit, because I'm so worried about people banging their stuff together. I don't know. It just seems to me it's far easier for me to just, build it into them that they die if they have sex before marriage, if that's going to be the outcome anyway. Why put it on the people to do it? Anyways, who knows? I'm not God. I don't have all the wisdom in the universe, so I'm sure there's some reason that makes sense of all this. Yeah. Anyway, so kill the woman, kill the hoe. She wasn't pure, so she's dead. Okay.
In this way, you will purge this evil from among you. Now, I'm sure that many people watching this video are very, very relieved that this particular law is no longer in effect. So let's move on to the third example, which is of adultery. Notice it says here, if a man is discovered committing adultery, both he and the woman must die. In this way, you will purge Israel of such evil. So do you see
Wow, he went through that one quick. I love it. So if a man, now remember I said that there will be some situations where a man can die. Here's one of them. If he's discovered committing adultery with some gal, he and the gal that he's committing adultery with have to die. Both of them. Now, so the guy is married. You have this guy, he's walking around. He's pretty good looking, you know. He's throwing his shekels around, you know, he's got some money. And you're like, oh man, I need me some of that, you know, and you're a lonely woman, and you know, you haven't felt the touch of your anybody in a while, because you're not, you missed the age of getting married off, you know, so you're just an older woman. You know, you're younger, you know, you're young, you know, you're 15 probably, because you know, back in then they died at like 30, so you know, but you know, you're a young girl, but you're older than most, you know, and you know, you're like, if I, you know, he's like, he whispers, hey, look, you know, you have some, you know, what I'm saying with me, and I'll make it worth your while, you know what I'm saying, and I'll give you some, you know, and or we'll just have some fun and we'll get married later, you know, and you're like, okay, yeah, and so he convinces you to have sex with him, and you know, it's pretty good, you know, and you were a little bit too loud there, and your neighbors overheard, and or they were spying on you, whatever, you know, and they're like, we caught you guys red-handed, so to speak. She's a virgin, don't matter. We know you're married, dude. And he's like, yeah, I'm married. And she's like, well, shit, I'm fucked. I had nothing to do with this. I didn't know you were married. How was I supposed to know? Don't matter. Guess what? You get to die too, bitch. Oh yeah, you and the guy. You're both dead. Screw you both. Because that's fair. Yeah, how was she supposed to know he was married? But it's like, just don't have sex if you're not married to somebody. That's the rule. And if you do, then you die. That's it. That's it. That's the rule. but we kill the guy too. It's just, I love it. At least the guy dies too in this case. All right, that's such a wonderful, loving verse. But yeah, purify that country of evil by killing them. Because as we know, killing isn't evil at all. Hey, didn't one of the commandments say not to kill? No, that don't count. That actually said don't murder. It's only murder when it's illegal killing. This is legal killing. So this is fine.
The woman must die. In this way, you will purge Israel of such evil. So do you see the heart of what God is trying to do here? Essentially, he's trying to make an example of the people who are sinning sexually in this community so that nobody else will be able to be emboldened to commit these same acts. And they'll say, hey, you know what? These people got away with this, so we can do this too. No.
All right. So remember all my rantings and ravings about, you know, just say that this was humans that made up all this shit and it wasn't God? Remember all that from before? Yeah. So he's going with the God actually ordered this stuff. And not only that, but he's trying to explain how it perfectly makes sense to him. Yeah, see, God just setting up this barbaric, evil, twisted system to prove a point. Hey, guys, I'm gonna have the death penalty for, you know, sleeping around just so that you stop doing it. Stop having sex unless you're married. I don't like. Oh, it's so gross. Oh, it's so gross. Oh, you're not married and you're having sex. Oh, I can't. Kill him. Just kill him. Oh, God. I'm so offended. I made them to have sex. I wanted them to be married. Oh, I'm so pissed off. Okay, tell you what, guys. Yeah, if you catch anyone having sex and they're not married, kill them! Kill them all! Yeah! Fuck them, those hoes. And the guy, too. Sure, why not? Yeah. Because God is a little baby. Your God is a weak, disgusting, repugnant, evil villain. Screw your God. No, God wasn't trying to have a system that made it so that people knew, hey, look, if we do this. Because the death penalty really works to deter crime, by the way. You know why people commit crime? Lots of reasons, okay? But to tangent a bit, people know that even in a state that has the death penalty, which we still have today, which it baffles my mind that we still have it around. But nonetheless, maybe you agree with it. That's a whole different topic, can of worms, isn't it? But nonetheless, okay, so you're in a state that has the death penalty, and you know that if you do this crime, that you, if caught, you will get the death penalty for sure. Yet you still do the crime. Well, why? Well, because you didn't think you'd get caught. That's why you didn't think you'd get caught. If you don't get caught, then you're not. Then you're not gonna face the death penalty. Then, so the penalty doesn't stop the crime. The fear of going to jail doesn't necessarily stop the crime if the person overrides the possible consequences in their mind and justifies it by saying, I'm not going to get caught. Of course, I'm not going to. Yeah, sure, everyone else got caught, but I'm not going to get caught. I'm so smart. I'm going to outsmart them. And they're never going to find out that I did it. Well, of course not. Of course you're going to get caught. Everyone gets caught. Well, a few people don't, but a very few people don't. And they have to be on the run and hidden the rest of their lives in fear of constantly being caught. More so if the death penalty is looming over them. So how do you avoid this if you're in Israel? You move. You leave. That's how. Yeah, I'm gonna screw this community. I want to go have sex. I'm not gonna be around here anymore. I'm packing my camels. Wait, I can't because they're not domesticated yet. I'm packing my belongings and I'm getting out of here. But if you can't, because there's this big old giant desert in your way, and the other way is like a whole bunch of rivers and mountains and shit, you're kind of stuck, right? You know. And it's going to take a lifetime to get somewhere else. So you can't really move, actually. So you're kind of boned. So you have to live with the land's laws. Maybe you try to change those laws and affect them. But you can't because they've been set in stone by God. So you're just boned all the way around. Because you didn't want these laws. You didn't agree to these laws. And unlike our justice system that we have, hypothetically, we could change any given law. And slowly we are changing laws to get rid of nonsense stuff that maybe we shouldn't have had. Long years of sentencing for marijuana. Oh, man, marijuana. Oh, so evil. We got to put people in jail for so many years for that. Because it always leads to harder drugs. Even though it doesn't always lead to harder drugs, but that was the belief at the time. And so now they're starting to get rid of some of these laws and repeal some of these laws, and that is affecting people currently in prison because that means they shouldn't be in prison anymore. And so we can't. What are we going to do? Well, maybe we pay them for their time. Sorry. Whoops. Sorry. We screwed your life over. Here's some money. Sorry, you know. But our justice system is slowly changing. And it's frustrating if you are at the end of it, if you're on the wrong end of it, and you have some injustice, poured on you. I just read recently there is a guy that had been in prison for 30 or 40 years, and he was just acquitted from DNA. He wasn't there. He didn't do it. He was in jail for like murder or whatever, but he wasn't there. It's definitely somebody else. And so it's like the longest somebody's been in prison wrongly. So, wow, that sucks for him, doesn't it? He's been sitting there saying he's innocent, but of course, almost everyone in jail says they're innocent, A few people will say that they did it, but most don't, because why would you, I don't know, I'd just be honest. That's me, but, I don't know. But you don't get anything from being honest. So our system is far from perfect. But hypothetically, we can change these laws. They're not unchangeable. But you can't do that with God's laws. You can't say, hey, that sounds like a really bad idea. Let's not do that. Because God said to do it this way. So you can't do anything about it. You're stuck. You're just stuck with the crappy law. So God, in all his awesome, amazing wisdom, doesn't want anyone to have sex before marriage, and in order to scare people into obedience, he orders the death penalty be issued if anyone ever has sex outside of marriage. The woman usually is getting killed for it. Sometimes the man gets killed for it. Sometimes there's money involved. But primarily, we got to make sure that people are being pure. But remember, we're killing the woman if she has sex with a married man. What if she has sex with somebody who isn't married? What happens to them then if they're caught? Well, later the woman, she can't marry now because if she gets married, she can't prove she's a virgin, so she's going to die. So, are we going to have a law that covers two people that have sex that aren't married? I wonder.
If you see your brother or sister getting stoned to death for something, it's going to make you think twice about whether you want to follow in their footsteps. So once again,
your God is evil and violent and nasty and wants to scare people into submission. Yeah, I get it. I know. I got it. I understand. Your God is evil. And please continue.
The first three are regarding a man and a married woman. Now let's get a little bit closer to the passage of scripture that we read earlier as we look at examples of a man and an unmarried woman. The first is when there is consensual sex between a man and a woman who is already engaged to another man. All right, so this is kind of similar to adultery, but they're not yet quite married. So let's see what it says. Suppose a man meets a young woman, a virgin who is engaged to be married, and he has sexual intercourse with her. If this happens within a town, you must take both of them to the gates of that town and stone them to death.
So earlier in chat, somebody said, didn't we take people to the gates of the town and stone them to death? Yeah, that's a favorite pastime of the ancient Israel people, is taking people to the edge of town and stoning them to death. Ah, so nice. So yeah, again, and imagine you're this young woman, you're a virgin, you're engaged, but, this guy comes along and he woos you and talks, says sweet nothing, and uh-oh, you're discovered. Well, time to die. They both get killed. Wow, okay. Why? Just because, But at least it's not to purge the evil from Israel. Just do it. Whatever. Kill him. All right. I'm wondering, though, again, what if it's a guy? Doesn't matter. Whatever. Mainly it's the woman. that we're looking at. We're worried about her. But yeah, kill them both. Fuck them. Yeah, they dead. They need to die. That's the loving God way.
You must take both of them to the gates of that town and stone them to death. The woman is guilty because she did not scream for help. The man must die because he violated another man's wife. In this way, you will purge this evil from among you.
Oh, they did say the purge the evil from among you part. All right, great, cool, yeah. So she didn't scream for help because he wasn't raping her. Oh yeah, they expect the woman to scream for help if she's being raped. So in other words, she'd enjoyed it because, you can't put your hand on a woman's mouth to prevent her from screaming. That can't happen. That never happened. I'm sure there was never, ever a case where a guy had sex with a gal and covered her mouth so she couldn't scream, and they were caught and they both wound up getting killed. And she's like, no, I wanted to scream. Ah, shut up, you whore. Time to go die. We're purging the land of evil. I'm sure that never happened, though. These laws are perfect.
Because he violated another man's wife. In this way...
Wait. He didn't violate another man's wife. She's not married to him yet. Your Bible can't even keep track of itself. What is God, stupid? They're not married yet. She's engaged. Well, I guess they're basically married at this point. Whatever. Semantics, right?
You will purge this evil from among you. So the idea here is very clear that if it happens in a town and this woman didn't cry out for help, it must mean that she was consensual with this particular act, because if she cried out for help, then somebody could come and help her.
Yeah, because as you know, there's never going to be ever, and never has been, a situation where a guy has raped a gal and threatened her life if she screams. That doesn't happen. Are you kidding me? Guys don't have knives to threaten the woman pushed up against her throat. If you scream, you die. Yeah, but if I don't scream, I die. So maybe if we're not caught and I go along with it, then I won't die. But if I do scream, he's going to kill me. So I'm going to gamble and hope that I don't get caught. And then the guy puts away his knife. Oh, yeah. What's the guy's knife doing there in his pocket? I'm sure they had brilliant detectives back in those days, though. So this isn't a problem. If the guy had a knife or shears or any sort of weapons nearby that he could have threatened her with, I'm sure that they were like, wait a minute. Maybe she wanted to scream, but he threatened her life. Yeah, I'm sure that they did that. I'm sure that they never, ever made any mistakes, because we don't do that in today. Today's justice system is always perfect. We never fuck up our system. We never commit the wrong people to jail. We never let the bad guys go. Wait. Oh, what? No, it's the opposite of that? Oh, okay, we do. Okay, so yeah. So basically, if you threaten to kill the woman, or cover her mouth, or both, she can't scream, you idiot. So then if you discover them having sex, guess what? She dies for getting raped. Wow. Perfectly logical and just and moral God you've got there. Yeah, because no mistakes will ever be made. Yeah, go ahead. Keep continuing to show us how evil your hoes are.
And then she could get free. But the fact that she didn't cry out for help seems to imply that she was going along with this. And as a result, because she was pledged to another man, then she deserves to be punished for it as well. So now I want you to pay very, very close attention to verses 25 through 27, because earlier at the very beginning of this passage, I read verses 28 and 29, which many atheists and skeptics think is referring to rape. But actually, when you look at the context, verses 25 through 27 are the verses that are referring to rape. Or
I just want to comment on that. I like that. They do it at the gates of town so they can update the board of the town's population. So I'm like, yes, that's right. Anyways, so it's not actually about rape. Okay, please tell us how the verse about rape is not about rape. This should be great. I love it.
Or non-consensual sex between a man and a
What?
woman.
Wait.
Let's read about it. But the context, verses 25 through 27 are the verses that are referring to rape.
Even in your picture right there that you're showing us, he's got his hand on her mouth so she can't scream for help. You could have picked any picture. You could have found any stock image to represent rape. And you get one that proves the point that I was making earlier. Oh, you're evil. Okay, wait. I want to go back and hear this again because I want to make sure I'm getting it right.
Think is referring to rape, but actually, when you look at the context, verses 25 through 27 are the verses that are referring to rape or non-consensual sex between a man and a woman. Let's read about it.
Non-consensual sex is rape. Yes, we know that. I don't like what that's what rape is. But actually, well, rape could happen between two guys or two women, or a woman can rape a guy. It's non-consensual sex. Rape also occurs if the person can't consent. Now, there's a question, and it's an open question, about animals and whether it's rape when you have sex with an animal. And some states say yes, that's rape, and some states say no, but it's covered under, like, animal protection laws, I guess. But there are some laws against bestiality on the books in some states. So check with your local laws to make sure if you're allowed to have sex with an animal or not. If you're gonna do that, which I don't know what you're into, so I'm not judging. Just be careful because animals kick and bite and stuff. Just because you can have sex with it doesn't mean you should.
But if the man meets the engaged woman out in the country and he rapes her, then only the man must die.
Thank God for that. If he's out in the country, or wherever that is, and he rapes her, he dies. Okay, but the woman, she's fine. All right. Now, but since she's not in a city, does she have to yell out about the rape or not? Because how do we know that she's getting raped unless she yells? We don't know, right? Can she go and say, hey, I was raped by a guy? How does this work again?
Do nothing to the young woman. She has committed no crime worthy of death. Yay. She is as innocent as a murder victim. Since the man raped her out in the country, it must be assumed that she screamed, but there was no one to rescue her.
Okay. So see, that screaming part, very important in the Bible, that scream there. That's how you indicate rape is a scream. And if you're out in the country, there's no one around to hear you. So, but we're just assuming that yes. So in this case, you could have a woman come up to the elders and say, I was raped in the country by this guy. And they say, oh dear, that's terrible. Yeah, see my bloody dress? I got blood all over it. Oh, yeah, oh man, he definitely did that. Well, we gotta kill him. And now she lied, and he didn't rape her, She splashed some blood on her dress in some other way, whatever. Got a chicken, killed it, splashed his blood on her dress, whatever. And she just didn't like the guy. But I'm sure that never happened, right? No false accusations were ever made back in the day. I mean, that never happens nowadays. That never happens where anybody accuses somebody of rape and it turns out that they didn't rape them. That doesn't happen either. Oh, wait, it does? Oh, it's a serious accusation. And it's a serious crime, and I'm making a little bit light of it. But you know what? If you don't like rape jokes, nobody's forcing you to listen to them. Oh no! I just realized what I just did there. Oh no! Oh, I'm in trouble now. I'm sorry. Hopefully you laughed at that. I don't know. But yeah, rape is bad. I can't believe I made that joke. That's terrible. Oh, well. I can edit it out later, right? Anyways, back to the Bible. The Bible's more evil than I am, so it's fine. It all equals out somehow. What was I complaining about? I don't even know anymore. Yeah, anyway, so she has to scream, otherwise she wants it, I guess.
It must be assumed that she screamed, but there was no one to rescue her. So you see what's happening? She got violated out in the country somewhere. She screamed for help, but nobody was around to hear her. And the assumption is that what was happening was something that she did not want to happen, but the man took advantage of her. This is what is talking about here. It's talking about rape in.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing at this. It's terrible. It's horrible. But I'm laughing because of the insanity of the woman has to call out if she's in the city and being raped, and the video that you pick, stock photo rape, Getty Images 8,393. I stuck hundreds of thousands of all the things you could have picked to represent rape that are out there. You find a video where the guy covers her mouth. She couldn't call out for help. So if she's in a city, they'd be like, obviously she wanted it. This is so stupid. It's such a stupid thing, this whole screaming out deal. Why couldn't God teach them how to verify if somebody was raped or not? And, what do the guys do if the guy gets raped by another guy? Or a woman rapes a guy? That's really hard. That's hard to prove in our modern day and age that happens. It does happen. I don't know how what the statistics are on it, but it does occur. Because anybody can make anyone else force them into a situation, including sex, that they don't want to do at the threat of their life or well-being. It's an ad ballum, appeal to fear. If you don't do the thing I want, I'm going to do something bad to you. That's an ad ballum. It's appeal to fear. And so you might use that on somebody and convince them to have sex with you. And they might not even realize that that's not consensual until later on. And they, and it's going to be awfully hard to prove that. So I sympathize with that person. They, they went through something that they shouldn't have gone through, and we got to do something about it, but we also got to make sure that it really happened, and so it's difficult. We don't have a perfect system. And here God, supposedly, who's all perfect and all-knowing, doesn't give us any better of a system than we currently have, and actually gives us a worse system. Rely upon the woman to scream if she's getting raped. Then we know that she's getting raped. If she's not screaming, then obviously she wants it. Because again, nobody's going to cover her mouth. That never happens.
This passage of scripture, and notice the punishment. That man is going to be punished by death. Now, let's read the exact same passage of scripture that I started this video out in verses 28 and 29, but instead of reading it in the NIV, which is a poor translation of this particular passage, which I'll talk about a little bit.
The NIV is a poor translation of this passage. Really? Based on what metrics exactly? What metrics are we basing that on? How did you deduce that it was a poor translation? I'd like to know. Oh, we're going to deep dive into that, I suppose. Jeez.
Later, let's read it in the New Living Translation, which I believe brings out the meaning of this passage a little bit better. So this is now talking about consensual sex between a man and a woman. Let's read about it. Suppose a man has intercourse with a young woman who is a virgin, but is not engaged to be married. So they're both single, a virgin, but is
okay, 22, 28, 29. 22, 28. I like how he goes to another English translation rather than going to the original language translation. That's interesting, isn't it? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. See if I can find. Okay, I found different versions. I wanted to see if I could find different versions here. It's good. It's good enough. NIV. Let's get that on the screen here. If a man happens to meet a virgin who's not pledged to be married and rapes her, they are discovered. Pay her father 50 shekels. If the man finds a damsel this virgin which is not betrothed, and he lay hold on her. What does that mean? And lie with her, and they are found. The man lay with her, she'll give up to the damsel's father. Not engaged, they're discovered. He seizes her and lies with her. So that's suggesting rape, I suppose. Forces her to have sexual relations. That's NCV, American Standard. Lays hold on her. Let's see. Lay hold on her. When the crime is discovered. Okay, it's a rape. Here's rape. That's in God's Words translation. Let's see. Rape is again. Let's see. Holy Christian Standard Bible, NSRV. Let's see. They're caught in the act, so not rape there. It's interesting how these different versions, like some are rape and some aren't rape. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Happens to see her rapes her, so NIRV, New International Reader Version, says rape. Seizes her is not. So how about original? Can we find the original language? Apologetic Press. What do they say here? Oh, that should be funny. Seizes her. They're using the same translation. Lay hold on her. Yeah, takes her, caught with her. Yeah, what's it say in the original? Hebrew. Alright, let's see. Oh man. Okay, here we go. If finds a man, young woman, virgin, not betrothed, seizes her, lies with her, and they're found out. Okay. So I don't know Hebrew, so I don't know. I mean, there's not rape in the Hebrew, I guess. But here the seizes her, so this is Hebrew to English. Let's see. English. It translate from Yoruba. No. Hebrew. Okay. Google has no idea how to translate that. Chat. Chat GPT, translate. Non-Latin script, do not it's Hebrew. Left to right uses script. Okay, so this is. Oh, okay, that's the English. I'm copying the wrong thing here. Hold on. Okay, alright. Hey, this is good enough for me. Alright, let's get that on the screen here. Alright, hold on. I'm doing the deep dive so that you don't have to. Because he's not going to bother, you know. So what's chat say? Okay. The Hebrew text, which I copied from the thing here, and seizes her. The phrases per beginning of get wisdom. No. Okay, so it needs to be in context, I guess. So let's do this, followed by this, and see. Okay. Okay. Capture seize. Okay. Okay. So capture her and or seize her. So yeah, that's the best I can do. I'm not, a scholar or anything like that, but to me, capturing and seizing somebody is definitely not consensual and would be rape. So I can understand how people would translate it into rape. But I could also see that people would say, oh yeah, capturing and seizing somebody, that's not rape. So I'd have to ask the rabbis out there, and there is a place to email rabbis, so I'm going to email them and ask them what this verse actually says and see what response I get, see if they think it's about rape or not, and go with them. But what's interesting to note, and my point here is that he decided, I don't like that version of the Bible. I'm going to say it's a poor translation, and I'm going to use this other translation that gets rid of the problem of rape. Now, he could have gone to the energy, work, and effort that I did and show that in the Hebrew, rape isn't in there. But it does say capture and seize her. So what does that mean? And he then would have a conundrum. He'd say, I don't know what that means to capture and seize her. And play ignorant and pretend as if that doesn't really mean rape. But that would be actual research and actual study of the Hebrew into the English, and we're an apologist. So we're going to be as lazy as we can, and we're just going to decide that we don't like this translation and use a different translation that happens to favor our argument that we want to make. Whereas if we go to the original text, the original language, we can't make that argument because it does appear to be rape. It's not saying the word rape, though. So, it's not clear, I guess. So it's cherry picking. Oh, no, it's not cherry picking. It's just finding the verse that we like and saying that it's a bad translation. This verse, though, the other ones in NIV, those are fine, but this one's bad. We're not going to explain how or why it's bad. Also, we're not going to go to the original language and show what that translates into because, well, that would actually disprove the point I'm trying to make, so we're going to stick with English anyways and just pretend that none of the other stuff exists, even though it does. I didn't count out how many said rape versus non-rape. So if someone wants to do that and let me know, like, how many versions have it rape versus not rape in English, like, is there more, or are they about the same? I don't know. But it's interesting that some of them get rid of the capturing and seizing her part, even though that's what at least ChatGPT thinks that means captures and seizes her, and it also seems like what that one website said it was. So, I don't read Hebrew, so I don't know. Oh well, whatever. Back to the perfect loving being of God and this idiot defending him for being okay with not rape or rape. Whatever. It's fine. If we take a different translation, then it doesn't mention rape, and then it's fine.
Not engaged to be married. So they're both single, footloose, and fancy free, and they have consensual sex, according to this verse. If they are discovered, he must pay her father 50 pieces of silver. Then he must marry the young woman because he violated her, and he may never divorce her as long as he lives. So I want.
Okay, and then there's that violated part, which is another thing that would lead me to strongly suspect that you're talking about rape rather than something else. But again, we're worried about purity, and so having sex before marriage is a violation. But the punishment is weird. It's only 50 shekels. It's not 100 things of silver. It's not about rape, because we decided it wasn't about rape, so that makes it fine. Yeah. That's fine then. Yeah, sure. I still have problems with it because just because you had sex with someone, now you have to marry them? What if she doesn't want to marry him? What if she doesn't want to marry him? But here's the problem. She can't marry anyone else because she ain't a virgin no more. So if she tries to marry somebody else, she gets killed. So this all-perfect loving being, God, who knows everything, says, well, if they're having sex and they're not married, he has to marry her. And that's it. There you go. That's the punishment. Oh, and pay the father $50. Whatever, Pay him $300. That's good enough. But hey, at least it wasn't about rape anymore. So yeah, now I have less to complain about. I still have things to complain about, because it probably is actually about rape. But if I go with your version, then yeah, sure, it's not about rape anymore. It's still bad and evil and vile, but it's not as bad, evil, and vile. Yay! Apologist, if I ignore reality, made a point. Alright. So, he keeps going. And I guess even though I've been going for an hour, I don't know if I've made my point yet about how evil and vile this is, because I'm not done with his video. So I guess we keep listening. Here we go.
Because he violated her, and he may never divorce her as long as he lives. So I want you to notice a few things here. Contextually, this passage, verses 28 and 29, cannot be talking about rape. Why? Because clearly the previous verses in 25, 26, and 27 had already dealt with the issue of rape. Remember the woman screaming out, whether she screamed in the city or screamed in the country? They already dealt with that. So it wouldn't make any logical contextual sense to say that verses 28 and 29, which is once again mistranslated in the NIV and other translations of the Bible, it wouldn't make sense to say that those two verses are referring to rape when Moses has already dealt with that issue in verses 25, 26, and 27.
Whether it makes sense or not doesn't matter, because it could still be true. So that's not very logical. Oh, well.
Furthermore, I want you to notice the phrase in this passage where it says, if they are discovered, which clearly is implying that both people were guilty of committing premarital sex. It wasn't just the man, it wasn't just the woman. It says if they are discovered. Now, you also might be asking the question, why is it that this man had to marry this woman and stay married to her for the rest of his life? Well, think about it. This woman is not married. She's single. You violated her. You've taken away her virginity. And in this culture, that made a woman less desirable for another man. And so
it made her completely inaccessible to another man, you idiot. Didn't you read what came before it? She can't marry somebody now. Or wait. Is she allowed to marry as long as she tells the guy that she isn't a virgin? Because it didn't cover that stuff. So maybe there's some laws that cover that as well. But I don't know. I'm finding sort of loopholes and sort of flaws in these laws. But yeah, it's just me. I don't know. Yeah.
Therefore, the only honorable thing to do would be to marry her and stay married to her because you've already taken away from her her virginity. And that was something that was very, very precious in that culture and should be
What if she doesn't want to marry him? Oh, well, that never happens.
Precious for us today. So now that we've looked at the context, let's look at a cross-reference verse in Exodus chapter 22. Now, before we get there, I need to explain some things. The word Deuteronomy, the book Deuteronomy, actually literally means second law. That's literally what the word means. Now, why does it mean second law? You have to remember that when the Israelites came out of Egypt, God's desire was to take them into the promised land. But as you know, they were getting involved in all kinds of sinful activity. And God allowed that generation to wander around in the wilderness for some 40 years.
Which we have absolutely zero evidence of ever happening at all. We have no evidence left behind of those wanderers. They would have left evidence. There isn't any. Oh, okay, so that never happened. Oh, well.
And so the older generation has been wandering around and passed away. But now, some 40 years later, the younger generation, their children, were ready to enter into the promised land that their parents were supposed to inherit. Now, why is this important? Because remember, Moses had already given the older generation who had died the law, and all of that was spelled out in the book of Exodus as well as Leviticus. But this newer generation, they had never heard these laws before. This was all new to them. These were the children who were born to the Israelites who were wandering around and died off. So what did Moses have to do?
Hey, you're telling me that they weren't aware, they weren't taught by their parents what the law was? What kind of stupid idiots are wandering this around? God, your God and your people are morons. I'm just gonna say it. You know, like, I'm not gonna teach my kid the laws. I'm counting on Moses to do that. How come Moses gets to live so long? What makes him so freaking special? All right, Moses didn't exist either. Wait, that means none of this is true.
Moses had to repeat himself. He had to give this younger generation, this newer generation, the law a second time, which is what the book of Deuteronomy is all about. Second law. Why is that important? Because when you come to a law in Deuteronomy, always cross-reference it back to the original law in Exodus or Leviticus. And so now let's look at the parallel path.
Objection. They couldn't do that at the time. Those books weren't written down. They couldn't cross-reference back then. Why do we have to do it now? They couldn't do it. You just said they weren't aware of these laws, so they can't cross-reference what he's saying to check if what he's saying is verified or true. So, what system did they use back then? Oh, well.
Passage in Exodus chapter 22 and see if it means the same thing as what people claim Deuteronomy 22 means as well. Now, I'm going to read it from the NIV just to be fair. It says,
Oh, now you're back to the NIV. Okay, it's fine. The NIV is fine now. But a while ago it wasn't okay. But now it's okay again.
this: if a man seduces a virgin who is not pledged to be married and sleeps with her, he must pay the bride price, for she shall be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he must still pay the bride price for virgins.
All right, so now we actually have a slightly less bad version the updated law is worse than the first law. Why didn't Moses repeat the first law if it was so damn good? If you have sex with a girl, you have to marry her and pay the guy. And if the dad now can say, you're not going to marry my daughter, the dad, not the daughter, she has no say in this. Maybe she wants to marry him. Maybe she wants nothing to do with him now. I don't know. Probably fucking embarrassed that she got caught. But regardless, she gets no say. Who cares what the daughter wants? Don't matter. So the dad gets to say no. If he says no, the guy still has to pay him. So at least that's a little bit better. Not much, but at least you have a possible way that the daughter could say to the dad, I don't want to marry him. And he's like, well, at least we still have some money. And, we can pay the next guy to overlook your non-virginity with that money or something, yeah. Nitty says the English, the Old Testament wife is just woman, so it's just property. Yeah, I know. The women are just basically property. But yeah, because they're paying for her services. She has to be pure, and all this. So it's very much concerned with all that and doesn't actually care about humans. And I don't see how this is moral at all, even a little. So even that first law there that was given, I don't see that as being a good law, because I don't think, virginity, who fucking cares? Have sex with whatever, who cares? Why is that why? Why make it such a big deal? And if you're gonna do that, why have humans be so freaking horny? Have it be so that we can turn on and off our desire. Oh, here's an idea. I know. Make it so that both the man and the woman can close their genitals. Like there'd be like a door that like is like flesh, but like it opens and then like your ding dong goes boing boing boing, or if you got the hole, it's just and then it's just the hole there, and then if it's closed, you can't get to it. But I'm guessing somebody would like pry it open or something. But it would make it harder to get at. Maybe it's made out of bone, it's like really tough bone, and but like maybe there, God could have built people that way so that they could just be like, look, my ability to have sex is off right now. I don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it. Maybe it feels good. Maybe you don't have sex feel good then. I don't know. That's just an idea. Or have it only feel good when you're married. It doesn't feel good when you're not married. And then you're like, well, what's the point of this? And maybe make it so that even if you have sex when you're not married, you don't have kids. There you go. Oh, that solves that problem. Yeah, I don't know. Also, it's interesting how little God tells the people about any sort of venereal diseases, VDs that they could have gotten or passed money to. Hey, if you sleep around, you might, get people sick. Wash up down there, by the way. Keep that place clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, God doesn't tell the people that. I don't know. It just seems to me that God is kind of stupid and only knows what Bronze Age people would know. But it's not God, it's Moses. But Moses isn't real, so who is this? I don't know. It's whoever the hell made up this shit and wrote it down. Oh, my head hurts. Alright, I'm done. I don't care what he says after that. I'm done. I've been going on for a long time here. So, look, you want me to cover the rest? I'll do it at another time. Let me know in the comments. The chat doesn't count. YouTube doesn't care about chat. I care about chat. I thank you all for your chats. But please, I know it's a bit of a burden. Hit refresh when this video is done.
and like hit it a few times and then post a comment. Doesn't matter what the comment is, so YouTube can see that you like me, and it could, and then maybe I'll get some more stuff my way or whatever. I hate that I have to ask for it every time, but if I don't ask, you won't remember and or you won't know to do it, and so I'm asking. Anyways, if you don't do it, that's fine. I don't care. Whatever. All right. All right. So what did we learn today? To recap, this isn't about rape, even though the Hebrew says it is about seizing a woman. Seems like it's rape to me, but I don't know Hebrew, so maybe it's not about rape. And hey, okay, cool. I still think it's evil and repugnant, but at least it's not as evil and repugnant as I thought it was before. But I still don't like it. And whether you're making people marry their rapist or making them marry somebody because they just had sex, that they're both wrong. Well, I guess one is more wrong than the other, but they're still both wrong. And God just has it in for people not having sex before marriage. What's so special about marriage? It's like a magical wand. Woo, you're now allowed to have sex. I'll conclude there. This is evil and vile, and it's hilarious that he has to change what version of the Bible he's using to try to justify the point he wants to make. That's hilarious to me. And all the versions that translated as rape are also bad. He doesn't explain how he knows that. It's just they are. I love it. It's so great. Such a great thing. Yeah, we're perfectly designed. We can't digest food without microorganisms. Well, I mean, that was later. That's because of sin and all that bullshit. All the problems are because, Adam and Eve screwed up, even though they weren't real either. Hey, how many things of the Bible aren't real at this point? Like, if we actually follow logic and reason and science. Let's see. We got no Adam and Eve because they didn't exist and couldn't exist, because you don't get the species from one man and one woman. That's not how people evolved. So that's out. We have no evidence that the Exodus ever happened. Moses didn't exist. He's like a combination of people. Noah didn't exist. He's like a combination of people. Plus, the worldwide flood couldn't happen. It's impossible. Plus, the story of the flood is like heavily borrowed, if not an outright copy of a pre-existing story. What's the free Epic of Gilgamesh? So that didn't happen. Man, seems like a lot of the Old Testament just completely. Deuteronomy is all a bunch of people, not Moses, because Moses didn't exist. So all these laws are just completely made up by whoever. We don't even know who wrote it down, or when, or where any of it was found, or who found it, and in what condition. I don't know any of that off the top of my head. You would think the apologists would know that. But they apparently don't. I know you can look up that information, but it's hard to find it. It really is. I don't know why, because they're telling us this is the most important book in the world, but they sure don't act like it. They sure don't seem to know a lot about it. The guy didn't go to the Hebrew for the translation. He relied on the English. That's kind of lazy. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of the Bible's made up. And we have no evidence of Jesus. We know that people aren't born from virgins, so Jesus couldn't have existed as written. So what part of the Bible is real anymore? A handful of locations and a couple of kings, and some legendary people, and that's it. Wow. You can do better with Spider-Man comics. Or Avenger comics or whatever. Or heck, Gone with the Wind. So anyways, and I'd also say about the whole save yourself until marriage thing, that from a personal perspective, even though that doesn't really count for much, it's one single data point. I personally, my life would have been very different had that not been a belief that I had held. Because it did lead me to do things that I would have done differently. So, in a way, it's the fault of the religion for having that ongoing idea that led me to make decisions that I currently kind of regret. I mean, I don't regret in certain ways because I some of the things were good, some of the things were bad, but I would have, it would have been different without that belief. And also I knew somebody that, because of the purity ideas in the Bible, actually thought that kissing before marriage might even be wrong because it made you think bad things. Because God doesn't like bad thoughts, impure thoughts. Oh no. Being intimate, God should be not just okay with that, but endorse it. And maybe tell us, hey, look, it's okay to be intimate. It's okay to make love. Here's how to do it. Here's instructions on the best way to please your mate. Here's how to prevent diseases from spreading. Here's what you can do about not having kids if you don't want them. And here's what you do if you do want kids and how to prepare for that. I don't know. Some instructions like that would make a far more compelling holy narrative than what we have here. But that's not what Judaism and Christianity are. They are an ancient system of ancient beliefs that are outdated and pretty much irrelevant, based on legend and myth. And people actually believe it's true. And that's kind of scary. Be skeptical, everybody. Ho, ho, ho. Merry whatever you celebrate. Yay! Alright, that's it. That's the end of the show. Thanks, everybody. Good night, everyone. How do I end this? What's that? Sing a song? I don't know. Alright, sure. Oh, what Christmas song should I sing? It's beginning to look a lot like lobsters everywhere I go. Lobsters over here and lobsters over there. Lobsters, lobsters everywhere. Grandma got run over by a lobster coming home last Christmas Eve. Something, something, something. On the 12th day of lobster, my lobster gave to me 12 lobsters, lobsters, 11 lobsters, lobsters, 10 lobsters, lobsters, 9 lobsters, lobsters, 8 lobsters, lobsters. Hit the end button. Hit the button. 8, 7 lobsters. I'm not done singing. 5 lobsters, lobsters. No, hit the button. 3 golden lobsters. No, I want to hit 1 golden lobster. 0 gold. Negative golden lobsters. No, wait, no, not that. Ah!